Hey there, my beautiful students. So I have decided to make a screencast for you guys to show you how to make a screencast. And you would have checked on Blackboard. I've got some notes there for you as well. But I thought the nicest way and probably the easiest way for you guys to learn how to do it, it'll support you, is if I make a screencast. So before I talk about the software, the reason why I'm doing the screencast is actually to show you how to use the software. It's easiest for me if I make a screencast to show you how to use the software. But I'm going to have to use Elector Live to show you how to use Screencast-O-Matic and vice versa. So I'll use Screencast-O-Matic to show you how to use Elector Live. And when you start making screencasts, you'll understand why. However, before I show you how to use the software, I want to speak a bit about the basics of making a screencast. So a little bit about the preparation that goes into making a screencast. In general, let me be upfront and completely honest. For about 15 minutes of recording, you have to take about an hour, approximately an hour to prepare. And as you watch the screencast, you'll realize what goes into the preparation. The first thing that you have to do when you set out to make a screencast is you have to have a storyboard. So you have to have written down somewhere, you would have to make notes on the story that you want to tell, and you would exactly like a written project. A screencast is not very different to a written report or a written project. You need to have an introduction, a body, and a conclusion. And so you could either use Word or you could use PowerPoint. Now, when I started making screencasts, I would use Word. So as you can see, this is a Word document that I opened, and there's an introduction, a body and conclusion, body and calculation, because this is a stats course we're doing after all. And then there's a conclusion. But as I did more of these screencasts, I realized it works better if I use PowerPoint. But you can decide whatever your preference is. So as long as you prepare before the time, you'll find that it'll go a whole lot easier, and it'll be a much more enjoyable experience. You can do the very same in PowerPoint, and the reason why I like PowerPoint is with PowerPoint I can press page down and very quickly I go into a new screen or a clean screen, seeing what it is that I want to see. So I could go to the introduction. If I've got logical sections, I could have how to make a screencast. Once I'm done speaking about the introductory information, or at least the author information, then I can go down and I can introduce my story by simply pressing page down. And once I'm finished speaking about the introduction, I press page down again and I speak about the body, the calculation, and then the conclusion. And if I were to try and do that in Word, it's not as professional. It's not such a smooth movement because I've got to scroll and I've got to use my mouse and I've got to use the cursor, and you basically see the words moving up and down on your computer screen, and it just doesn't look quite as nice. So the two things so far is you have your story, so you have a storyline planned, and then you decide which software you're going to use to present the written text on. Either Word, or if you want to, you can prepare Excel in advance. The nice thing with screencasts is you can toggle between the programs. So I can very easily toggle. If I want to see PowerPoint, then I can quickly go into PowerPoint. If I want to see Excel, now unfortunately I didn't open Excel before the time, but you could have an Excel screen open like this with some information on Excel, and then if you want to go back to your notes, you can quickly just press PowerPoint and you'll go back to the PowerPoint. If you want to use the internet, then you press on whatever your browser is that you're using. So those are some of the logistical things that I wanted to tell you about before you make a screencast. Another thing is when you prepare, an additional advantage of using PowerPoint is if you prepare your storyboard in advance, you can decide if you're going to use something like PowerPoint, even if you're going to use Word or Excel. If you want animations, you plan this ahead of time. So, say for example, I want that to fly in at a particular point as I'm talking. I would then go to animations and I would go appear. So this particular part of the text would be an animation. And so when if I were to go to slideshow mode, if that is what I'm going to record, let's go into slideshow mode and we go from the current slide. That is all I see, and as I am recording my screencast, I then bring in whatever it is that I'm animating. It could be either text, it could be a picture as well. But so those are little practical tips that I'd like to share with you guys as you embark on this project of making a screencast, which is your semester project. Okay, so let's talk about the software then. So this is Elector Live that I'm using. So I'm speaking on the fly. I can't stop. I can't edit. I'm not going to use additional software. I don't want to use. You could use Movie Maker, Windows Movie Maker, to edit, or whatever other editing software you use if you want to. But I'm not going to do it. So I'm just going to continue speaking. This is Screencast-O-Matic. So to get to Screencast-O-Matic, so before you get to this point in time, you would have had your storyboard, you would have decided whether you're going to use Excel, whether you're going to use Word, whether you're going to use PowerPoint, or a combination of them. And so now you're ready to start recording. Now you're going to have to log in. So let me just log out. I've got an account with Screencast-O-Matic. So you're going to go log in. You probably don't have an account, and then you must create your account. Now I have an account, and so it keeps a record of some of the stuff that I've done. And it allows me obviously to use the software. So I've got my account, and I put in my login details in my account. And then it logs me in, and you would create it. It's a couple of minutes. It'll maybe be a couple of extra minutes where you create your account, and then you go, I'm ready to record now. I've got my story. I know what I'm going to say, and I click on Launch Recorder. And so I'll wait a couple of seconds. It asks me, I want to launch the recorder. So it's trying to open up that recorder, and I say, yes, I'd like to launch the recorder. And so it starts up for me. Now, when the recorder is launched, we'll see this in a couple of seconds. There we go. This area that I see here, this little rectangle, it's actually a rectangle, that is the screen that I'm going to capture, that I'm going to record. And you can resize this according to whatever size. You can either do your entire screen if that's what you want, or you can do a section of your screen, however big or however small you want it. And because I use PowerPoint presentation, what I actually do is and I've learned this, I set PowerPoint to 80%, so that I can still see what's happening on the side here, so that I can still play around and move around. And then what I do is I make my recording screen as big as the PowerPoint slide that I'm going to work on. So you'll see there, I'm just adjusting the screen so that it fits over. This is what I want to record. This is what I want to see. Let's make that a bit bigger. There we go. That's what I want to see. And now I'm ready to record. This is why I only use part of the screen. Yes. Okay, this is why I only use part of the screen. That pop-up message was just reminding me that I'll only have 15 minutes to start once I actually get started. Because I can easily shift between the concepts. I've got how to make a screencast, intro, body, and calculation. When I'm explaining, sometimes I remember something that I should have said in intro, or sometimes I remember something I should have said in calculation, or sometimes I want to say something and be creative. this area here is what the viewer is going to see in the video. So the viewer won't see my mess as I'm moving between the screens or as I'm moving my mouse. They'll basically just see this area that I'm recording, and that is why I don't actually, when I make screencasts, I don't actually do it in the slideshow mode. I do it in this mode, which is more of an editing mode. Okay, so when I'm ready, I'll go into how to make a screencast, and now I'm ready to begin, and I have my story planned, and I press record. And so it tells me 3, 2, 1 and go. And so on this screen, I'll introduce my screencast. I'll speak who my, I beg your pardon, I'll say who my authors are, etc., etc., etc. Being mindful of the time. And then I can move on. Simply by pressing page down, I go to the next screen. And whatever it is that I've discussed is either here or I type and I go along as I need to. Now at this point, students, I've got 2 graphics. Let me point out to you, I've got 2 graphics tablets. So if anyone wants to use a graphics tablet which allows you to write, you're more than welcome to do that. But with a little bit of planning, you don't need a graphics tablet. The graphics tablet is difficult to use, and I find that animations are neater than the use of the graphics tablet. Okay, so I'll speak about my introduction, page down, and I'm onto the body, the nuts and bolts and the real flesh of what it is that I want to say, and I want to support that with a calculation. So I press down, and there's the calculation. It is important to remember that when you prepare beforehand, so when you prepare your Word document and when you prepare your PowerPoint presentation, think about where it is that you want blank space so that you can add the calculation. So that, do I want blank space here? Because at this point I might want to type something. I might want to type something or write something using the graphics tablet, or even bring in an animation. And then I move on to the conclusion. And the important thing is to have fun and be creative. So let me adjust that. Have fun and be creative. Now the nice thing about Screencast-O-Matic is, well, here's the timer that I see, and it tells me how far I've gone up to my 15%. Now why have I got, it says that there's something going on here. Anyway, so let me just stop there, and I now want to play back to hear what I've recorded. Now there was something funny about my sound. Let's hear my sound. And so on this screen, I'll introduce my screencast. I'll speak who my, I beg your pardon, I'll say who my authors are, etc., etc., etc. Being mindful of the time. And then I can move on. Simply by pressing page down, I go to the next screen. And whatever it is that I've discussed is either here. Let me say stop there. So there, I can actually watch whatever it is that I've just recorded and say if I didn't like that. So let's just go back. I want to go back. I just want to listen to that again. On this screen, I'll introduce my screencast. I'll speak who my, I beg your pardon, I'll say who my. Okay, I didn't like that. So at that point, I actually want to record over that. So I paid attention. I noticed where the timing was. It was at 4 seconds 48 that I made that blupse, and I want to record over that. And so all I basically say is I'm going to truncate. I'm going to record from that position. So I remembered what it was that I was trying to say that didn't sound so good, and I say yes, truncate, and it goes 3, 2, 1, and I start recording over that, and I just continue the recording. And I don't think my students have realized how many, well, now that you see how I've done it, I'm sure in the future you'll be able to point out very quickly and easily where I have done this trick, where I truncated. But anyway, so this helps me to edit on the go. So I edit on the fly. And the nice thing is I edit on the fly, and I can keep an eye on the time there. And so I go on and I make sure that by the time it is almost 15 minutes, I'm ending at the logic. If I'm not done with my complete story, then I'm ending at the logical point where I can finish it nicely and neatly, and I can pick up in the next screencast. Okay, so this is Screencast-O-Matic, and this is how you use Screencast-O-Matic. I press done. I am done now. Finish recording. I go done. And so Screencast-O-Matic says, what do I want to do with this recording? And I say, I want to save it as a video file. And so it's telling me it's called this, and it's, let's see where it's going to save it. Yeah, I'm actually not even sure where it's going to save it. But let's publish it and let's try and find it afterwards. It'll be in my downloads. So it's busy publishing the video. Okay. There and it was called recording number 11. It's an MP4 player. Let's go browse the folder, and this is how I see where it saved it. It actually saved it on my C drive in Bronwyn Documents Screencast-O-Matic number 11. And at this point I'm just going to rename it, and I'm going to call it Test 1. And I actually feel like just putting it on my desktop so that I can find it easily and quickly again. Okay, and there I say I'm done. And so now what I do is I can now go to my desktop, and there's Test 1. And this will be the Screencast-O-Matic screencast that I made. Go. And so on this screen now, there we go. Screencast recording over. Bob's your uncle, and what did they say? Mary's your aunt, but I like Bob's your uncle. Okay, so I'm going to finish this one now, and I am going to make the next one using Screencast-O-Matic to show you how to use Electa Live. Later, alligator.